Hello, welcome to week 3 lecture 12. If you remember, in the last class we were talking about human sounds which are used in language. So basically we were talking about phonetics. In the last class we talked about 3 branches of phonetics. We talked about the 2 basic classes of sounds, consonants and vowels. We also discussed the parameters for producing consonants, which were basically place of articulation, manner of articulation and voicing. But we did not talk much about vowels. Today we will talk about vowels, about different types of vowels and how do we produce vowels. So when we talk about vowels, we have 5 descriptive parameters. These are rounded, unrounded of lips, close and open of mouth, how we close it and open it, mid, high, low, front, central, back, all these are related with the tongue position, and length, duration. So I will start with lip rounding. So lip rounding is about how we round our lips. If you have noticed, in some of the vowels, when you articulate these vowels, you do not need to round up your lips, rather you spread your lips and then sounds like E, A are produced. So you can produce these sounds and you can notice that you are actually spreading the lips. So you are saying sounds like E, A, but when you are rounding your lips, you are producing sounds like Oo, O, O, and in between the spreading like E and total rounding like O, in between also there are various stages like E, A, O. So you can see, right, and all these are actually vowels, different types of vowel, different qualities of vowel. So you can easily understand, depending on the lip shape, the quality of the vowel sound changes. If we have a spread lip, we can say sounds like E. If we have rounded lips, we can say Oo. If we have half rounded, we can say sounds like O. If we have half spread, we can say sounds like A. E is totally spread, E. A is not so much spread. O is not totally round, neither totally spread. O is totally rounded, O. So we can actually give different shapes to our lips to produce different types of sounds. But basically all these shapes somewhere is related to rounding or spreading of lips, because that is what we can do with our lips. We can actually spread it or we can slowly round it up. Other things are not possible, right. So that is why doing just that much we can actually produce different types of sounds, which are vowel sounds. I hope you all remember that when I talked about vowels and consonants, I mentioned that vowel sounds are those sounds which when we produce, we do not block the air in our oral cavity. So there is no obstruction of the air flow. So directly air comes out from our mouth. So when the air is directly coming out from our mouth, how can we create variation in that? So one way of creating variation in that is by changing shapes of our lips. And then another way is by taking more time to speak one vowel than the other vowel. So imagine you are saying a rounded vowel like Oo. Oo is a rounded vowel, very easy to understand. You are rounding up your lips and you are saying Oo. But in certain sounds you can make it longer, you can take more time to say U. You can say Oo or you can say Oo. Similarly, you can say E or you can say E. And just by making it little longer, you are creating 2 types or you can say 2 qualities of vowel. The quality is different because one is long, another one is short. In some of the language, this duration is used in changing the meaning. Like in English, if you look at the word seen. So, I can say seen, I have seen you, and then there is the word sin. So, I may say I have seen you committing a sin. So, both the seen actually has the same vowel and same sound seen, but in one seen E sound is long and in another E sound is short, sin, sin and seen. Again you have words like sheep, ship and sheep, bean and bin. So, in all these contrasts, what you can see is that everything else is same. The vowel quality is also same, except that in one the vowel is long and in another the vowel is short. And this long and short is actually contributing in the meaning. So, we can't say that this is just useless, right. So, this is important because this is creating change in the meaning, and for the speaker of a language, when this length is important, it is important, one perceives it accordingly. So, if I say seen, one will understand I want to say I have seen something, but when I say he has committed a sin, then also one will understand that I am not talking about seen, I am talking about sin. So, depending on the duration, the time one takes to articulate the vowel can be long or short. So, contrast between the short and long vowel is when otherwise the vowels are of same quality, but duration in one case is more than the other. So, you can't compare E with U, short E with long U, that can't be done. The comparison has always to be of the same kind of vowel. So, otherwise it has to be same, like if I am talking about rounded vowel, it has to be the same rounded vowel. If I am talking about unrounded vowel like E, I have to talk about E, both the E's, but one is long, another one is short. So, when we are looking at the vowel length, every other aspect remains same. The only difference is that in one more time is being taken to utter the sound, to articulate the sound, while in the other less time is being taken to articulate the sound. And that actually can create difference in the sound, which as I mentioned contributes in the meaning, in the change of the meaning for some language, but may not be for some others. Now, you can see in this diagram, this is picture of our tongue. So, in the other picture you can see that this is our mouth with the lip, mouth, lower lip, upper lip, lower lip and the mouth, and here this is the tongue. I already talked about other speech articulators in the last class. So, this is the velum and all, I mentioned that. So, now this tongue you can see here. So, the root of the tongue is of course taken as the back portion of the tongue, and then you have the front portion and in between is the center portion, and this edge is this part is said as the tip of the tongue or blade of the tongue, this part in the opening, near the opening of the mouth. So, this is the tongue. Now, this becomes important. How? When we talk about other features of vowel, other parameters of studying vowel. So, one is about close and openness of mouth. So, when I am saying sounds like E, one thing is my lips are spread E, but another thing is my mouth is not open like ah. So, when I am saying ah, my mouth is totally open, ah. That is why that is called open vowel. But vowels where we do not need to open up our mouth so much, those are called closed vowels. So, we have closed vowels. So, you have sounds like E, and this last one, when you look at this, this is ah, open vowel. And in between the open and the closed, there are again various other sounds, other vowel sounds which can be articulated, and these are these, like when you say ah and when you say a. So, for a, I do not need to open my mouth like when I say ah. So, a is little less open than the sound ah. So, that is why you can see A is actually not near open, it is above that, and accordingly we can go towards closeness. So, E again A and E. When I say A, open vowel A is totally open, but E is comparatively closed. But if we further close it, we will get sounds like E, A and E. This sound is A and this sound is E. So, A is mid close, you can say, and E is more closer than A sound. So, this is A, this is E, while this is A. So, this whole diagram is actually representation of our tongue. So, this is perceived as our tongue. Now, as I mentioned in the earlier picture, there is this back of the tongue and front part of the tongue. So, from back part of the tongue, when vowel sounds like oo, o, a are produced, you will see that there is force in the back portion of your tongue. And that is why when there is force in the back portion of the tongue, those vowels are called back vowels. While when the force is more towards the front part, those are called front vowels. And in between there are sounds like center or central vowels. So, this sound is very important, which is called schwa, and this is the a sound, a. So, it is totally in the center part of your tongue. Air pressure is near in the center. And so, this is how the sounds, the different vowel sounds are being produced. So, the dimensions are closeness and openness of the mouth, back and front of the tongue, and also mid, high and low, which is actually more related to the front, center and back of the tongue. So, now you know that for vowels we can't block the air anywhere in our mouth, they come out directly. In the case of consonants, we can actually block the air and create different variations in the consonant sound. So, if we block it with our two lips, we can produce sounds like pa. If we can use our lip and tongue, lip and teeth, then we can produce sounds like fa. But here in this case, in the vowels, we can't actually block the air. The airflow is direct without any obstruction. So, what do we need to do? We actually change the positions of our lips and the tongue. So, tongue do not block the air, but tongue actually raises and falls and creates different shapes, and the air pressure is accordingly shifted from one person to another, creating difference in the vowel sound. So, these are the criteria which help in creating different types of vowel sounds. Now, this chart is taken as the tongue, and these all are vowel sounds, and when you look at these each of the sounds, you know that these are the positions of the tongue from where these are articulated, and these are the basic ones. So, E is of course close front vowel, but this is the tongue position from where E is uttered, that has been assumed, but in some languages it can be little here, it can be little here. So, it might actually shift depending on the language, it does not has to be the exact disposition. So, initially a British linguist, Daniel Jones, he proposed a set of reference points. So, this when I am talking about this chart, these are actually reference points. So, I am saying E is produced from the front part of our tongue and the mouth is almost closed. So, this is a reference point from E. But the air pressure, when I being say a Bengali speaker saying E, the air pressure is in front part of my tongue, but one who is say a native speaker of English, the E sound produced by that person, the air pressure will be in the front part of the tongue, but the exact location will vary. So, from language to language, the exact location of the air pressure varies. You might say that from person to person it varies, of course it does, but when we study sounds of a particular language, we mostly look at the one language, and it has been seen that of course there can be variation depending on person to person, but for native speakers of a particular language, more or less the position is same, the location is same. So, if I am talking about Bangla E, the position of the tongue from where E is pronounced will be more or less same for all the Bangla speakers, mostly, may not be exactly, but mostly. Similarly, for say British English speakers, again it will be similar, but it will be different from the Bengali native speakers. So, these are called the reference points. These are not the exact points, these are the reference point. So, when we talk about these reference points, we talk about also cardinal vowel chart. So, primary cardinal vowel chart or primary cardinal vowels were proposed by Daniel Jones, and he talked about 8 primary cardinal vowels. The classification of vowel sounds in the cardinal organization is based on 2 possible tongue positions. These are the front to back and high to low positions. So, based on how high our tongue can go or how low it can go, or from how extent of back portion of our tongue we can take out sound, or to what extent from front part of our tongue we can utter a sound, based on that these 8 sounds were proposed, these 8 vowel sounds were proposed. So, this is the cardinal vowel quadrilateral. So, these are the 8 vowels. So, this is the tongue position. So, beyond that it is not human to articulate a sound. So, that is why these are the reference points. So, somewhere when I am saying E, it has to be near this position, I can't go beyond, or when I am saying A or O or U. So, these are the reference points basically. So, again when I am saying U, it can't be here, it has to be here, it has to be back portion, it can't go. So, in any language I can't find U where U is a front vowel. It is not possible, because U, whenever we are uttering U or O, it has to be from the back part of our tongue. It can't involve front portion of our tongue, because these are general for all the languages. Though the exact location, as I mentioned, can vary, but more or less for all the languages, U will always be a back vowel, O will always be a back vowel, E, A will basically be front vowels. So, these are the cardinal vowels. Now, let us talk little bit about diphthongs. So, when 2 vowels come together and they form a single unit, they are called diphthongs. So, diphthong is also used very commonly. Whenever 2 vowels are coming together, it is referred as a diphthong, but it is not so. Whenever 2 vowels are coming together and they are behaving as a single unit, you can't actually divide the 2 vowels, then only they are diphthongs. It is not that 2 vowels coming together always is a diphthong. When 2 vowels actually merged into each other in such a way that they look as if they are one unit, then only they are considered to be diphthongs. Like in English words like oil, I. So, when I say I, can you say where the A starts and where A ends and where E starts and E ends? Think about it. So, similarly high, I, oil. In these type of words, the vowel sounds, it is difficult to actually separate one vowel sound from the other. You can't say that the one vowel started and the other ended. So, because they have merged into each other, and those are called diphthongs. Diphthongs are also found in Indian languages. We have like words like bow in Bangla, which means wife, O, Hindi hai. In Malayalam we have word like kai, for hand. So, in all these words you can see that how vowels are actually coming together and merging into each other, so that you can't separate one vowel from another, then only we call it a diphthong. So, one can often get confused with the vowels, where vowels are coming in serial, like one vowel coming after another. So, those are not diphthongs. Again, long vowels, they are also not diphthongs. So, that does not mean that two vowels are coming together to create long vowel. Now, you know that we are taking more time to utter a sound, that is why it can be a long vowel. So, long vowel are again not diphthongs, they are long vowels. So, languages have contrast between short and long vowel. All the languages they do not have contrast, but many languages they do have. So, one should not confuse two vowels coming together as a diphthong or one long vowel as a diphthong. So, when I say mouse, ouse, so mouse, a and then oos. So, I am not actually merging both together. So, that means that these are two different vowels coming together, they are not one single vowel. Or when I say like moose, so moose is also a long oo vowel, it is not two vowels coming together. So, these are not examples of diphthong. So, when we talk about diphthongs, we also need to know that diphthongs can be of two types, falling and rising. In the falling diphthong, the first element is more prominent. So, that is why it is called falling. So, prominence and then fall from there. So, English diphthongs are mostly falling ones. So, each language they have their own patterns of having diphthongs. So, when we talk about examples like I, so if you articulate I, the word I, you see that you are giving more prominence or more force to the first vowel a, I. E is somewhere getting lost slowly, and there is a clear sign of falling. So, the force is towards the first vowel and then there is a fall. So, it is I. So, that is why it is called falling vowel. Noise, oise, so noise. When you say noise, again I am giving more force towards the O vowel, OI are the two vowels here, noise. So, you might think that the written spelling and the spelling I have written like this is actually different. So, these are written in IPA, International Phonetic Alphabets. In the next class, I will talk about International Phonetic Alphabets. So, these are more accurate way of representing sounds. So, this is noise. So, z and n, these two are consonant sounds, do not focus on that right now, focus on these two sounds O and E. So, when I say noise, oise, you know that these two are one unit, one can be considered as one unit of sound, and that is why it is a diphthong. And you know that when I am saying noise, I am putting more force to O sound, that is why it is the first part is getting more prominence, that is why it is a falling diphthong, noise, I. Similarly, in a sound I am putting more force, a, e, I. And then there are rising diphthong, just opposite to falling one. So, in rising the prominence is increasing or the force is increasing. So, when it is increasing, that means the second part is getting prominent or the second part is getting more force. So, words like tomato, tomato, in some variation of English you can find O sound is getting more prominence. So, in English it is actually difficult to find rising diphthongs, but in some varieties of English, tomato, O sound gets more prominence and then we can say that it is rising. But in again some other varieties we do not find that. So, in those cases the word tomato will be example of falling diphthong, not rising one. So, here I will like you all to think about diphthongs of your own language. You can make a list of the diphthongs which are there in your language, and then you can also try to see the pattern whether your language has more falling diphthongs or more rising diphthongs. So, it will be very interesting to see the pattern. Again try to check whether they are indeed diphthongs or are they just vowels coming together, or are you taking long vowels as two vowels. And then you can create a list of all the diphthongs and then try to see that what is the pattern. You can also compare and contrast it with, say, English. That can be a very interesting study. Again, there can be combinations of three vowels behaving as one unit. So, a triphthong is a combination of three vowels which come together and behave as a single unit. So, the features of the diphthongs are there same like that, but here we see three vowels coming together instead of two. So, words like flower, flower. When we say flower, we are actually saying three vowels, a, u, flower, flower, flower. But we can't actually separate all these three vowels. We can't cut and say that here a is there, here u is there, here is there. It's difficult to do that. So, and when I am talking about separation, I am not talking about using any spectrograph or anything. I am talking about perception, how we perceive it. So, depending on our perception, we can say whether a sound is a diphthong, triphthong, or just vowels coming together, two or three vowels coming together, neither a diphthong nor a triphthong. So, that can also be a case. So, yeah, try to make a list of the diphthongs and triphthongs of your own language. Now, let us sum up. So, we can see that today we talked about parameters for producing vowels, how we can actually change the quality of vowel sounds. One is by changing the shapes of our lips, so making it rounded, less rounded, spread, less spread. So, lip rounding. Another is by taking more time to utter one's vowel sound compared to the other one. So, vowel length. Secondly, which portion of the tongue is getting the pressure. So, we can say if the back portion is getting more pressure, then we can say it is a back vowel. If the air pressure is more towards the front part of the tongue, then we can say it is a front vowel. And whether the mouth is totally open or it is half closed, half open, or it is closed, depending on that also the vowel quality will change. So, we actually do all these together, we combine all these together to produce different types of vowels. When we utter a sound like, say, E or E, what I am doing? I am spreading the lips, the front part of my tongue is being used, I am taking more time E compared to E and E, I am making it long. So, all this together I am doing to utter the sound E. So, it is not like one thing at a time, all things together, all things are combined together to produce one vowel. And again, when all these are changed, or even if one parameter is changed, the vowel quality will change. So, if I say E, I am just taking less time to utter the sound, all other aspects remain same. So, I utter the same sound with a short duration. So, it is called short vowel. Again, if I am saying sounds like oo, E, oo, oo, I am rounding the lips, back portion is involved, and closeness of the mouth. So, all these are again producing the sound oo. So, we see how we mix and match these parameters to articulate different types of vowels. But in all the cases the air flow remains, their flow is always there, no obstruction of the air flow is there. So, the air flow is always there, but with the changing of the shape of our lips, our tongue and the duration, we are actually changing the quality of the vowels. We also looked at the basic vowels, which you can say the cardinal vowels. We talked about the diphthongs and the triphthongs. So, we talked about all these. So, now I am sure you have a basic idea about consonants and vowels, how they are produced and how we can actually produce different types of consonants and different types of vowels. We will explore both the consonants and vowels in the next class, but from a little different point of view. So, I hope you enjoyed the class. These are some of the readings. Thank you.